This is Milwaukee's M18 Super Sawzall. It arrived in 2018 with more power, more weight, and a new 12 amp hour battery. It claims to match the power of a 15 amp corded version. It features variable speed control in both the trigger and a separate dial, as well as on-off orbital cutting, increased stroke length, and a new LED light and rafter hook. On the surface, it certainly looks like a worthy upgrade over Milwaukee's older version from 2012 or their first one-key model from 2016. To make sure, we give it to AJ Delancey of A&D Enterprises to test it out. And of course, we give it to Kris Cousin at his tool repair shop at Ohio Power Tool so we can see how this thing works. This is your inside look at the Milwaukee M18 Super Sawzall.
I'm AJ Delancey. We're on site here at the New Balance Family Academy in Dublin, Ohio. I'm foreman for a carpentry construction company, and we just finished up the demolition and construction of this elevator shaft here. And we've been on site for a couple weeks already. I run almost exclusively Milwaukee tools, actually. For all my cordless stuff, everything I have is Milwaukee. This is actually one of my favorite tools. This is the fuel Sawzall. It's lightweight, incredibly powerful, great run time. I mean, it'll power through just about anything. And we have the corded Super Sawzall right here, and this is what we bring out when we have heavy demolition. We're running the tool all day long through various materials, heavy steel, really thick walls, large headers, things like that. We have a lot of demolition to do. This is always on site. This is the Super Sawzall here. We just got this recently, and this is every bit as powerful as this, if not even more powerful. I mean, it's actually incredible what they were able to pack in this platform here. Here, there are 20-inch eye joists here throughout the entire building, 19 inches on center, and also various steel strappings and hangers that we had to go through. This was by far, this was definitely the tool of choice. I mean, this is what we would have used, but I mean, being free of the cord is, anytime we could do that, we always try to cut the cord. It saves so much time, and we can move the tool around, and it's just so much easier. The length of stroke is greater. And also, this one does not have an orbital action, which the orbital action on this allows it to take a larger bite of material, for lack of a better term, and it just eats through material much quicker. So the other thing too, the shaft on this isn't nearly as thick. I mean, it has the same kind of mechanism, but in the past, when doing demolition, I've actually snapped the shaft off Sawzalls before. When we're doing demolition on an existing building through load-bearing walls and things like that. Even with shoring, some framing members can have weight on them, and this thing will nothing will slow it down. So it's pretty incredible. There is a variable speed dial on it. It's similar to the one that's on the corded Super Sawzall as well. I'd never really play around with it. I would just always leave it full blast. I mean, it just is nice to cut through material quickly. I would use it if I had to stop at a very specific spot, but for the most part on a demolition like this, you just go right through the material and get it out of the way. When you pick this up, I mean, it is quite heavy, but all that weight is actually justified for as powerful as it is. You don't want to be running it all day over your head. I mean, it will wear you out. It's quite a bit heavier than even the corded model, actually, with the 12 amp hour pack. And I was able to use it just about all day long before swapping it out. And it wasn't even entirely dead. It just sort of got to the end where the power drops off a little bit, so you want a fresh pack to keep full speed going. The only thing I'm not crazy about on this is the blade release is just like this style, but I mean, I understand it has to be really beefy to be able to hang onto a blade at this sort of power. I mean, this is something that, if you're a demo crew, I'd get a couple of them. You can run these things all day long. It'll power through anything. That's really my concluding statement. I mean, there's nothing this thing won't cut with the correct blade. I mean.
After getting job site feedback from AJ, Kris at Ohio Power Tool took it apart to examine its design and features.
All right, this is our newest model fuel Sawzall, the 2722-20, hot off the press. They've made a lot of changes in this one, and there's some things they have not changed. They still have the adjustable shoe, which is a Milwaukee trait with the quick lock blade release. This model, much like last year's, also has an LED light. One thing they have added on this model is something that we've seen in the past on all the electric models and not on a fuel, is the selector. A lot of the older ones have a button that slides back and forth. This is the first one that I've seen from Milwaukee that has an actual dial. That's direct drive into the gear case. The motor's definitely larger in this year's model. It's a bigger model overall. They've changed a lot of their circuitry. Much like the other Milwaukee models we've seen, they've brought outside the motor housing with their MOSFETs and all the wiring. Wiring on this model seems to be more minimal. A couple of little things they've changed. The trigger lock used to be a ball and spring method, so it constantly had tension on it. Now they've just gone to a tab and a slide mechanism. Not sure how I feel about that. Speed selector has stayed the same over several models. The wiring traps are pretty much the same. I don't see any changes there. They have added a rafter hook to this model, which is a good thing. This one is now running the red lithium, quite a bit bigger than the old style. You see your change there in size, obviously in weight is a big difference, but this saw balances out well with the extra weight. Overall, with the Super Sawzall, Milwaukee has made vast improvements as far as size, weight, usability. It's definitely a lot more heavy duty than its predecessors.
All right, that's going to do it for this inside look at the Milwaukee M18 Super Sawzall. Thanks again to AJ at A&D Enterprises and Kris at Ohio Power Tool for their help on this one. Get your own M18 Super Sawzall either as a kit or a bare tool at ohiopowertool.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go visit coptool.com and join us this Friday at noon for all the latest power tool news and our Cop Tool Week in Review. I'll see you then.